Dreamers everywhere. Welcome to the Julie and Disney podcast. I am one of your hosts, Andee Zilmerman.
And I am the other one of your hosts, Andee.
Yeah. How are you? Well, I know how you
am
are. I know one part of how you are.
So tired. So tired. I
Yeah.
apologize for the condition of my scraggly beard today. Normally I would have trimmed it at the very least, and I'm letting my
I was going to say something.
hair
I don't
grow
think
out.
you appreciate our listeners and watchers on YouTube. Listeners actually don't care. We could go back to just doing audio, and then it doesn't matter what we look like.
Our listeners are engaged in a strong parasocial relationship with us, so of course they care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
But I've just been in my 30 plus years in higher education, this may have been the busiest and toughest week I've ever had.
Sounds like it.
And so I'm just exhausted. I won't get into it, but it was just a very busy week on my campus. And I am the only person on campus whose job description includes responding to protests. So I am very tired, and I worked most days. I worked 6 days this week, most of those days 12-hour days, and I am very tired and I'm very exhausted, but I'm very excited to return to our podcast because we've delayed for about a week. Why did we delay? Was that my schedule?
I could not get out of bed I couldn't get out of bed.
You were super sick.
I have been sick with some kind of weird, stupid respiratory virus, sinus infection, bronchitis since January 6th. And they put me on a prednisone, the steroid. They put me on that. Oh, God.
Yeah,
well, they say it makes you really witchy and really irritable, but no more so than my normal self.
So how long have you been on?
I know. I've been on it for 40 years. So but no, I was on it and I didn't love it, whatever, and I did my dose, and then it was over, and then I literally could not get out of bed last weekend. And yeah, so I'm going, I've got all these doctor's appointments, going back and forth to the doctor. It's really just like in my sinuses. But when I can't get out of bed, it's like I get out of bed and I'm dizzy, and if I'm in bed, then I'm just sleeping. So I don't know. It's crazy. I'm sure, everybody's got worse problems.
I assume you're better than last week, right?
I am. I can get out of bed. I took a shower. I'm here with you. And so, yeah, it's just like on a fun road, and somebody with hearing impairment anyway. And then my ears are so messed up that I've got a 30 decibel loss on top of what I've already got. So yay, it's so much fun.
So much fun.
Teaching middle school during it. Yeah. I just, wow, is what I gotta say. So anyway, did you find any time to have a Disney week? That's the hard part in all of this stuff.
I have something to discuss for our Disney week, but it's more of what I'm about to do this afternoon than what I have done, because I haven't had a chance to really consume any media. But I'm really excited about this on Disney Plus, and I've been seeing the trailers for it for a while now. Disney Plus just put out, I think it just came out this week, if I'm not mistaken, either this week or the last day of February, a new series called Iwaju. Have you seen anything about Iwaju?
Not a thing. I don't know anything of what you speak of.
Animated series, but it comes from Walt Disney Animation Studios, so it's like fully animated.
Okay.
And it takes place in Lagos, Nigeria. And they made it with so some of the story behind it is there were some animators in Africa, in Nigeria, who sort of put on Twitter that our goal is to make an animated movie that puts Disney to shame. And so the Disney studio reached out to them and said, hey, let's work together. And so they put together this. It was originally going to be a series of shorts, but they liked the story so much. I believe it's a 6-episode series called Iwaju that takes place in Lagos, Nigeria, and it's sort of Afrofuturism, and there's a little girl whose dad's an inventor, and there's some whole stuff. So I haven't had a chance to see it yet, but I'm really excited to see it, and I plan on watching it either this afternoon or this evening. I have a trip tomorrow, so I also have to do laundry and all that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to get to at least 1 or 2 episodes tonight.
What's the name of it again?
Iwaju. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it correctly, but
How do you spell it?
It's spelled Iwaju. Iwaju, and there's a couple of
Okay.
accents somewhere in there. But it's on Disney Plus. It just got released. And it's
Wow, it
super.
looks fantastic.
The
Where
animation
have
looks
I
amazing.
been?
It's so weird. Like, I have not seen it being promoted very much. The only reason I see it is because the YouTube algorithm like popped it up. So I definitely one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it is I want people to check it out because I think it looks amazing.
Holy cow, the artwork. I'm just looking at the artwork of the poster.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I need to watch this.
It looks so good.
I need to watch this. Holy cow. How have I been? I'm kind of embarrassed that I missed it. I mean, it looks so fantastic.
It hasn't been promoted, right? Like, my YouTube algorithm, like, because I'm just subscribed to all the Disney channels. So Disney YouTubers and all the Disney company YouTube channels and all that kind of stuff. So it just popped up in my YouTube on my algorithm, and I watch way too much YouTube, but I'm really looking forward to it. It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, it really does.
A ton of behind the scenes stuff on YouTube. So
wow, I am so glad you mentioned that. I am so excited to watch it. I wonder, I mean, I could check right here, but oh, there's all the different episodes.
6 episodes, right?
I don't know. I'm just looking at all the behind the scenes stuff and
mm-hmm.
Oh wow, I'm so glad you mentioned this because it looks really fantastic. I'm very excited to watch.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe that'll be my Disney week too.
Yeah.
No, I have another one.
What do you
have? I collect picture books because, I'm a librarian and teacher and I love picture books. And Emma sent me this beautiful Haunted Mansion.
Oh, that looks
picture
cool.
book.
We gotta put that cover on Instagram. Is that like raised lettering?
It is. It is.
I don't even.
It's
dig picture
so
books
beautiful. And all it is, it's the illustrations by James Gilliard with I'll show you the illustrations in a second for the YouTubers, but it also comes with a CD.
What's on the CD? Is it the Haunted Mansion music?
Well, yes, and reading the book. And the book is really just the grim grinning ghost. No, wait. Did it start at the beginning?
Did they come out to socialize?
No, it's grim grinning ghost. So you can see that here. I'm just going to do a couple pages, but the artwork.
Oh my god, the art is beautiful. I'm buying that, and I don't think I own a picture book, and I'm definitely getting it.
I own many. When the crypt doors creak and the tombstones quake, spooks come out for a swinging wake. No, I'm not going to sing it, but I don't know. Look at that.
You kind of did. I know. I'm just saying.
Is that beautiful?
It is.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And
I want that. I might just frame that cover. It's so beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Now to close your eyes and don't try to hide, or a silly spook may sit by your side, shrouded in a dark disguise, then pretend to terrorize.
Grim grinning ghosts.
Come out to socialize.
That is awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, things like this make me happy. And then it's not like really fair because it's not my Disney week, but I did share some of their fun on our Instagram page, and Emma, my daughter, and Fernando, her boyfriend, were able to go to Disney Channel Nite at Disneyland After Dark, and it looked fantastic. Now, it would be totally lost on. I mean, you wouldn't even know because you didn't do Disney Channel stuff, but because they grew up with that High School Musical, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Not only didn't we have the Disney Channel, but even when I was a kid, Disney Channel, when we were kids,
didn't exist.
Yeah.
It didn't exist. It didn't exist when we were in college. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember I would subscribe when I was in college thinking it was going to be a bunch of like Disney cartoons, and it was like a bunch of kid shows, and I was upset.
Absolutely. I thought the Disney Channel, when it came out, was going to be like what Disney Plus is now.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I remember that too.
But I mean, again, it was kids who grew up with it, it's totally cool.
And so I thought they were absolutely adorable. They went, if you are familiar with the show, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Ashley Tisdale was Maddie, the kind of like the gift store clerk. Emma is a blonde and went totally dressed as Maddie. And then Fernando went as Esteban, the bellhop. Totally perfect. But what they wore, the colors were all the same as the Tipton Hotel, like the show, but they were Tower of Terror shirts and hats.
Oh,
and
cool,
so
cool.
they were like the Sweet Life of Tower of Terror. So,
Nice.
or of the Hollywood Hotel. They look great. It looked great. I'm a huge High School Musical fan. So seeing Mickey and Minnie in their East High basketball cheerleader. Oh my! I know it was them who went and not me, but I certainly enjoyed the pictures. And they said they had a great time.
Well, at least you got vicarious enjoyment from
I really did get
from your sick bed.
That's right. Right. So they had a good time. I'm glad they had a good time. And I still haven't been to a Disneyland After Dark event. So one of these days.
Does the what's the Halloween one? Does that one count? Because if so, I've been to that.
Oh, I don't know if that counts because that's like a multi.
Yeah, and it was Disney California Adventure, but it was cool. It was a great time.
Yeah,
what is it called?
I don't know if that counts as Disneyland After Dark. Usually these things are like 1 or 2 nights, and that's it. And they'll do like they did an '80s one, and when Haunted Mansion turned 50, they did that Haunted Mansion 50. Stuff like that. I still haven't been, but anyway, I'm glad for them that they went. And
that's right. Haunted Mansion turning 50 was on my 50th, around my 50th birthday. And they kicked us out. Yeah. Well, Haunted Mansion and I being the same.
We didn't have tickets. Exactly. Yeah. So you got that going for you, which is nice. All right. Well, you have a decision to make pretty soon. One that I have not had to make. So
in a very long time. Didn't you? Well, you used to have. Well, they weren't.
Was it called Magic Key?
Yeah.
That was when it was your regular Disneyland Annual Passport. Things have changed.
We should explain to our listeners and
that is your job. You're going to do that.
So I am the holder of a Disneyland Magic Key. Currently, I have the Enchant Key Pass, and it expires March 31st, which is, as we are speaking, 22 days from now. And I am trying to decide if I should renew. Now, for logistics purposes for this discussion, Disneyland is in Anaheim, and particularly this will make sense for people in California, but outside of California, it needs some explaining. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, which is about 400 miles north of Anaheim, still in California, but
it's a big state.
Big state. But I have an annual pass, and I've generally kept an annual pass because I go down to Southern California enough to make it worthwhile. For the last year, I was doing the math before we started recording. I have used my annual pass 11 times, or 11 days, I should say, to go into Disneyland, which I think works out to somewhere around $60-70 a day based on how much it cost me to do the Enchant Key Pass, which is well under what it would have cost me if I was paying for an individual ticket for those days. So it made...
But you wouldn't have gone those days,
but
though.
That's the other piece. So what we're going to do today is have a conversation about whether or not I should let my Enchant Key expire, whether I should renew my Enchant Key, or whether I should actually move up to the next level key, or the next 2 level keys. The next level key above Enchant Key is the Believe Key, and the big key is the Inspire Key, which, obviously they cost more money. All of the keys, if you live in California, you have the option of paying on a monthly rate, which is what I usually do, just to amortize that cost over the course of a year. When you renew, so when you buy the first key, you put a certain amount of money down, and then you have a payment for the rest of the year. But when you renew, they just amortize that cost over the year. So the monthly cost is a little bit more, but not so much more that it should, So
do you have all the, like, let's make like educated decision, like how much is each one, what is each one, like pros and cons, things like that. So you have the Enchant Key right now.
I have the Enchant Key right now.
But there's one below that?
There's one below that, which is the Imagine Key. Which is only, I don't figure that's really an option. It's only available for Southern California residents, which I no longer qualify as. And it's not really available for most people who'd be listening. So I figure, but
fair enough.
From an information perspective, the Imagine Key is the most affordable key because it's $499. only for folks who live in Southern California, which is zip codes 90000 to 93599. But it also has the least number of days that you can go to the park. You can only hold 2 reservations at the same time. You get a fairly good number of discounts, but it's not. It's really what they used to call the locals pass, which is you're going during the week. You're not going at all in the summer. And it's really built for people who can like work 8 to 5 in Orange County and then say, hey, let's go to Disneyland tonight to hang out.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm not eligible for it because I live in Northern California, but it's the pass I used to have when I lived in LA, right? Because when you live in LA, it's close enough that you can go down there after work, but you're probably not going to do it that often.
We didn't even own that pass when we lived there because we had so many guests visiting us that we wanted to go with them. And we went so often that I wanted parking included.
Yeah.
And so we didn't even do the cheaper pass because we would have never been able to go with our friends.
Right. And parking is a huge component of that.
Parking is huge.
Because parking, how much is parking now? It's like $30 a day or something like that.
At least.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
If you don't add parking, which the Enchant Key does not include parking, which is an important component. The key that I currently have does not include parking. However, that hasn't been a challenge for me because usually when I'm going, I'm flying down and staying at a hotel nearby. The other piece is if you're more local, like a California-y person, and you're not necessarily staying. So if I go down, I'm either taking my car and parking it at the hotel, or if I am visiting my dad in LA and go down, I'll just park in a neighborhood and Uber over, which is still going to be less than the $30 parking, right? That's generally what I'll do. Most of the time, I'm flying down and staying in a hotel near there and just walking around once I get to the resort area.
Okay.
So the what are the distinction is the Believe key, which is the next level key, gives you 50% off of parking. And the Inspire key,
instead of the 25%.
Instead of the 25%. And the Inspire key, which is the biggest key, let me see, gives you parking included totally.
Yeah, that's what we had when we lived down there because we just wanted we didn't want anybody to tell us when we could or couldn't go.
And here's the thing: the big key, the Inspire key, is the one that's like go whenever you want, except I think I think it's Christmas week you can't go. So I'm pulling up the calendar.
I know, I'm looking at it too.
Other than
it looks pretty open except for Christmas. You're right, except for Christmas break. And I will say that when we did have it, I'm talking a long time ago. This was 2007, 5, 6, and 7. We could go anytime. There was no blockouts.
Right.
And now they even on the highest pass.
No blackout. Okay.
No blockouts.
But then I remember I had that one year, and then I remember during that year, I still didn't go during the dates that it was blocked out. Because
it's crowded.
It was blocked out. It was super crowded, and I don't want to go.
Right. Right.
I don't necessarily see not having those couple weeks at Christmas as necessarily a bad thing because I wouldn't want to go then anyway. And I know how you are with the crowds, right?
Yeah, and when have I gone the last couple of years? Christmas and Thanksgiving. Yay me. I did notice. Well, we didn't have this problem when I lived down there either, but you get a discount on Genie. Plus, if you have these magic keys, we didn't have that when we didn't have Genie Plus when we lived down there. So that was a non-issue.
Use Fast Pass.
One of the things I like is that the passes include the digital download photos at Disney World. Oh no, that's not true. Never mind. I take that back. You do get it with your annual pass.
Well, I
like the photos.
Here's the thing, and again, I think it's important to make the distinction. Particularly when you all were going, it was you, Ed, and the girls. So having the photos, the digital photos, was a real big advantage.
Well, we were with
Generally,
people.
By myself.
Yeah, and you don't care.
I'm not taking photos, even when I'm because the digital photos, which I think is cool, includes the ride photos. So I'll download those just because I got them, right? But I'm not I don't, it's like everybody's photos nowadays. I don't frame them. They're on my phone and they're on my computer, and every once in a while, so I don't really use that digital photo benefit all that much.
But it's so interesting. Like what you have now is the enchant. Even the jump up to the believe key is like $400 more. Which for you, you're a one person buying one ticket, and I am just thinking. I mean, there is no way could we have even done this as a family of four.
Think about $400 more.
Crazy.
Okay, but let's run the big numbers, right?
Oh, right,
Your family
right.
of four. Let's say you wanted to do the believe key. Believe key is $1,250 a year. That's $5,000. $5,000. Which
I don't know. It's like,
when you think about if you were, you guys live too far for it to make sense. But if you live closer by, that's a lot. You're getting a lot of bang for your buck, sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
If it's just because the kids aren't paying for it, if it's just the family paying for it. But remember, it's also like, let's say the girls were teenagers, right?
Yeah.
It's also like, hey, we're going to drop you both off at Disneyland, and you feel relatively good about them where they're at, right? It's not a babysitting place, but it's not like they're wandering around Anaheim either.
I know. And then the very most expensive key is Inspire. So if you were going to do Inspire, that's $1,650. So that's double what you're paying now.
And remember, because of where I live.
Yeah.
Right? So let's say I went down there the exact same amount of time that I went down there this time. $1,600 for 11 days. Then it's getting closer to, hey, I should have just paid but remember, now Disneyland has surge pricing. So it's not like just a standard park entry, right? Some days are more expensive than the others. And with the key, I can go to either park.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
But they still have their reservations, which I get why Disneyland does, because it's a freaking shoebox of a park. But I mean, now at a time when World got rid of theirs,
here's the thing about reservations, right? I used to be very frustrated with the reservation system.
Yeah.
Particularly like I'm going down there March 29th through 31st. And right now there's no reservation because I'm going down for WonderCon. Right now there's no availability for reservations. But if I've planned out, usually when I'm going down there, I have a couple months or a couple weeks at least notice. Most of the time, if I check 2 or 3 times before I go down there, reservations open up.
Yeah, true. That is spring break for
day, right?
Yeah.
Now, honestly,
it might be a blockout day for you, though, huh?
It may be. I think it is a blackout day. But here's the thing: you've been to conventions with me. If it's a blackout day, or if I'm at a convention, sometimes it's better not to go.
I know. Well, yeah,
I'm so tired at the end of those days. So I believe, 29th through 31st are blackout days for me anyway. And remember, the 31st is the last day for my current pass. So that's when it expires.
Okay. Yeah. So your last day that you could actually go on this pass is March 22nd.
Because everything before that is a blackout day. And, whenever I go, I got to either drive down or fly down.
What are you going to... Gosh.
So I'm flying down for WonderCon. So I'll be down there the 29th. I'm flying back the 31st. So I'll be in, at the Hilton Hotel at the convention center, but I won't be at Disneyland. Now I can still go over to downtown Disney and all that kind of stuff, but I won't be entering either park. Even if I renew, because the renewal, or even if I upgrade or renew, because that then would start on the 1st. I can see your dilemma.
Yeah. I know. I keep looking at the what do you get versus what do you not get. So
I'm going to run through what I would get for the Believe key. Let's say for the sake of argument that I decide to upgrade to the next level.
Which would be $400 more.
I am not rich enough to do the Inspire key.
Okay,
so
you're not going to double it.
more, amortized over a year.
Okay.
I get up to 6 reservations. Currently, I can get 4.
Okay.
And what
Okay.
that means is, saying I'm, the days that I'm coming, I can reserve. Right now, I can reserve 4 days, and next, with the next one, I can reserve 6 days, which gives you a little more breathing room, right? The 20% off Disney Plus, the Genie Plus, which is good,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing. Here's the other thing about being a Magic Key holder that is really difficult is because I'm a Magic Key holder, I rarely am there at rope drop.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not there at rope drop, some rides you're not gonna
Mm-hmm.
use without
Mm-hmm.
Genie Plus or Lightning Lane.
Yeah.
If I get there at 8 and the park opens at 7, a lot of those rides are just closed. Like you're not getting in, or you're waiting 2 hours. So the discount on Genie Plus is a good one. Unlimited digital downloads, that's cool. 10% discount at restaurants, on a lot of merchandise, half off parking, which isn't a huge benefit for me when I'm solo, but I also go with people. So let's say I
Mm-hmm.
called my sister and say, hey, why don't you guys meet me at Disneyland? I can get them 50% off parking, which makes
Mm-hmm.
parking somewhat reasonable as opposed to insane, right? Plus, park admission for both parks and a lot more days.
Something to keep in mind too is that is Imagine Pass, that's what you have
Imagine
Enchant.
Key? I
Is
haven't
in
changed.
You have Enchant.
Mm-hmm.
What is the Enchant calendar like in August? It looks
Good question.
I'm sorry, I'm very slow
So we're
loading
going to
right
be
now.
there for context. Your
It
your your Dueling Disney
uh,
family is going to
yeah.
be there in August, right? So for the Enchant Key, so we're going to be there for D23, which is the 9th through 11th of August. For the Enchant Key, if I renew the exact same one, I have the 9th that I could be there and the 11th that I could be there, but the Saturday, the 10th, is blocked out.
So Believe will get you Saturday inside if you wanted to go. So that's the only chance. And I'm not saying that we would even go on that Saturday,
Right,
right? I mean,
because
we probably won't
we were
even
at
go on that
D23.
Saturday.
It's super. I mean, we're going to be exhausted, and there's plenty of stuff to do at the convention center, right?
Yeah. So, wow, Al, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
If you went 11 days
Uh-huh.
next year with the Believe key, if you upped it, that would be $113 a day, which is how much is it to get in right now?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. Let's look that up. Disneyland
Because if you're
admission,
just going to pay the same amount anyway,
right?
but then
If
you
it's
don't get the discounts.
right. So, but remember, the Disneyland tickets are surge pricing now, right?
Yeah.
Some days, right, are more expensive than others. So let's look at what it would
True.
cost. I'm going to pull up what it might cost to buy a ticket for August 9th through 11th. So standard theme park tickets start at $96 a day, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to select 3 days.
But this is like a park hopper because you can park hop with your...
Okay,
so it's like a park hopper, not a single day ticket.
3 days park hopper, which according to Disneyland is plus $70 a ticket. Continue. So that would then be, and then when I'm going to select August 9th through 11th.
It's such a racket. I'm sorry, park hopping to charge for park hopping. It's so ridiculous. I don't know why I always think that's a racket. Hi, you can go to both of our parks in one day. We're just going to charge you more.
Okay. Sorry, somehow the system is not. Okay. So selected 9th, 10th, and 11th. Okay.
And that is during, right. So the actual convention is going to be the 9th, 10th, and 11th.
9th, 10th, and 11th. So $460 right now.
Okay.
Right?
For 3 days?
For 3 days.
Okay, so let me.
That's about $153 a day.
Right. So if you did get the Believe key, you would save some money if you went those days and the days around it. The difference is if you, I don't know. This is hard because if you didn't buy the pass, then you would, like, if you didn't buy Magic Key Pass at all,
right?
You might only go 1 or 2 days anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, there's no world in which I don't go to Disneyland at some point for the year, right? Like that's just not.
Have you counted the number of times you will most likely be in Southern California in the next year?
Yeah, so I go there every year for WonderCon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because that always goes into it. Except this year, I'm realizing because usually this year I'm realizing it just coincides with a blackout day, so. I won't be able to use it this year, but I go there for WonderCon at least once a year. My dad lives in LA, so I'm in Southern California at least another maybe twice a year. And I'm generally down there for work like twice a year at UC Irvine, right?
Yeah.
There's some meeting or another that I have to go. Well, and sometimes it's UC Irvine, sometimes it's UCLA. I was at USC, so there's a bunch of Southern California schools that if I go down for a meeting, right?
Plus, you're going to be there for D23.
I'm going to be there for D23, right? So for next year, from April 1st to March 31st, 24-25, I know for a fact when I'm going to be down there for WonderCon 2025, I'm going to be down there for D23 2024, and let's say 2 visits to my dad's house.
Okay.
So that's 10 days in Southern California.
So about the same as this year.
Right. So let's add another 2 days for a meeting. So that's like 12 potential days.
Okay.
And then anything above that, right? This year was actually one of the years I didn't go as much as I usually go. Because work was crazy and dissertation stuff was crazy. So normally, there's also the thing where I just fly down to not Orlando, to Anaheim for a couple days and go to Disneyland. I do that. Because if I find a cheap flight from Oakland to Anaheim, I'd grab it and go to Disneyland.
I know what I think you should do, but do you have your mind made up? Do you know what you're doing?
Not only do I have my mind made up, I've already made the decision. So I'm curious. I am curious because I figured that our listeners, I didn't want to get to the end of this and our listeners be like, well, what the hell did he do? But I want you.
Okay.
To tell me what you think, and then I will reveal what I decided.
Okay. Actually, I should probably say what I think you did. I know what I want you to do. Okay. I'll say what I think that you did, and then you can tell me what you really did.
Well, say both, and then at the end, when you finish your thoughts, I will tell you what I did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying. I think you should up it and get the Believe key.
Okay.
I think that we're going to be down there a lot. I think you might even go down there more because you have the Believe key and there are more times to go. I also think because you just finished your doctorate and your dissertation, that you could splurge a little bit more to get the benefits of the Believe key. We are going to be down there for the convention, so maybe if like on that Saturday night there's something really big going on but you don't want to be around that crowd, like you could pop over to Disney for a couple of hours. You're going to be super close.
Yeah.
So I think the Believe key is the way to go for this year at least, and then you can make a determination next year when it's time to renew of if you keep the Believe or if you go back down.
Okay.
I think the only reason Believe is because what you said about parking is true for you. Like you don't usually park. That parking is huge for me. If I was going to drive, luckily.
So much money. Like that's a part of
so
the
much
number.
money.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, even if, we are lucky that the kids work for the company, and we're able to take advantage of that. But honest to God, even if they were just able to get free parking and we still had to pay for parking, it's still going to allow so much money.
Expensive. And think about it. It's a date. It's
so
not
ridiculous
$30 for your trip. It's like $30 a day. And
Disney World's the same.
Actually, I just threw out the $30. Let me see how much parking really is. Let me see.
Okay.
Disneyland parking cost.
That's why, and when you're looking that up, that's why I have to say if
$40 a
you're
day.
40.
40 per vehicle.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
No,
And it might be the same.
That's at the hotel. Let's see. Theme park parking.
Parking at downtown Disney is really expensive too. To go to
Daily
downtown
parking
Disney.
rate is $35 per car or motorcycle.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So that's a lot, right?
It is a lot.
First world problem. I know, but still.
It is first world problems, but I do have to say that and we're jumping to Disney World really quick. But if you're ever going to take a trip to Disney World and they say, "Oh, it's not a Disney property, but we're right outside the entrance. You know, you can just bring your car in or whatever." This is when you have to remember that Disney World is the size of San Francisco, and the entrance to Disney World does not mean the entrance to Magic Kingdom. You've still got like a 10 to 15 minute drive to get to Magic Kingdom, and then the parking.
Well,
it's ridiculous.
Here's the other thing that and I will don't get anxious, listeners. I will say what I did. The other thing I was thinking of when I was doing these calculations is, what would make me not even question this? If the annual passport was also valid at Walt Disney World.
Do they even do the golden? They used to have like the golden ticket or whatever.
It's not super advertised, but they do still have, for an inordinate amount of money, the pass that you can go to both of the American parks.
Okay, yeah,
Well, both of the American resorts, Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World. I didn't even look up to see what the amount was, but it's an insane amount of money. But I don't know that they would lose that much, because even if I had that, what that would mean is once a year I'd go to Disney World. That's what that would mean.
I know, and probably vice versa too, right? The other people would like come out to go to Disneyland.
It totally would be worth it for me.
One of the things I'm learning from the kids both working there is just how separate of companies those two places are.
Oh yeah.
To think that Disney is just like, hey, one big happy company, and what do you mean Disney Plus has to cut people or lay off people? Disney World's making a ton of money. I mean, it is so separate. And it's so interesting.
But I'm just saying, anyway, as I'm making these decisions, so this is what I did. I need to think. Do you want me to tell you what I think you did? Yes, I do. Because you know me and you know how cheap I am.
Exactly why I think that you're going to disappoint me and stay with the enchant key. Because how many times am I like, just do this. Okay, I think I will get a moderate resort. Yeah, I'll do it. I just think I can save so much money by staying at value. Blah, blah, blah. So, okay, go ahead.
At the value with the really hard beds and the mile you have to walk to get.
But it's worth it to you to save $20 a night, isn't it?
I get there and I complain and I go to, I'm like, wow, these moderates are really nice.
It's hot. They have hot water in the moderate.
Yeah, it's so weird.
We were taking ice baths at the value, but they got warm water here at the moderate.
Yeah, but you get to take pictures with giant Dalmatians.
I know. I do like that part.
So here's what I did. I ran the numbers and I ran the numbers again. And it's funny. We've known each other a really long time, because you literally read my mind when I said normally I probably would either. Well, here's the other piece. Before I say the other piece is, in the past, what I would do is let it expire and wait until my next trip.
Yeah, that's true. Why aren't you doing that? Oh, because you're going to be there
for 4 months. Why pay for it? Except now with the Magic Key, if you don't renew, you're taking a chance that it's not going to be available the next time you want to go.
Right.
So I said to myself, okay, let's be realistic. I'm not going to not renew. I'm going to renew, right?
Okay.
So the question then becomes, between the pass I have and the pass that I am, the next level pass. And I said, Al, you just started a new job. You got a fairly decent raise. You just got a doctorate. You've had a really long week at work. How about you do something nice for yourself? So I, in fact, upgraded to the Believe key.
I don't think you listeners know what a big deal this really is.
I'm so cheap.
The man is incredibly cheap. Wow.
I did
I'm proud
upgrade
of
to the
you.
Believe key. And it's simply like, yeah, you know what? When we go in August, I would like to be able to just be like, you know what? Let's just go. And if you
Yeah.
guys stay a couple extra days, I'll probably stay a couple extra days.
Yeah.
And we'll just go to Disneyland. Why not? I love
I
Disneyland.
know.
I
I
shockingly, I
am
enjoy Disneyland.
also thinking that, I mean, you have to take advantage of the fact that you're only paying for one ticket and not
Right.
4.
And that's, I mean, you cannot, I mean, you can because you have had to pay for a family. You cannot imagine, or I cannot imagine if I had to make these decisions for 4 people. Like, that's just so much money.
People do it.
Of course,
People
because,
do it.
you know, it's your family, but that's so much money.
It is your family, but it's also Disney. And so I'm like, if you're paying, say you did pay for all 4, and I'm talking about just people who have a family of 4. There's people who have
Right.
6.
Way bigger family. My mom had 6 kids and 1 good one.
Wait, 6 kids and 1 good one, or one good
she had
one
6
was
kids, and one of
in
those
the
kids was brilliant and gorgeous and all those things.
Daniel is
And
very
of course, we're
special.
talking about
That is
Daniel.
true.
Yes,
Yeah.
Daniel is, yeah.
So anyway, I mean, we're thinking now, I know with inflation and everything, but I still think that the inflation is way up on this. So when we lived there then in 2005 to 2007, we did have family pass. We did have the best of the family passes. But remember, and then Annika were still children.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
weren't 10 yet. So that was 2 adults and 2 kids, and we had the parking.
Mhm.
But I don't think we paid much more than $1,000 for all of that, right? It
I
was
mean,
probably like $1,200 for all of that.
And there's a
Not
couple of
one.
YouTube videos that talk about sort of how the yes, it's inflation, but the price of the annual passport has risen far out of proportion with
And
inflation.
it doesn't matter because people still pay it.
Well,
That's
and
the
that
thing.
honestly, it's similar to what we've said for other things. It's how they control park. It's similar to the reservation system. It's
But
how
it's
they
not being
control the
controlled very
population.
well. It's
Yeah,
still really
because I
freaking
think
crowded.
they keep saying, "Oh, if we do this, it won't be crowded," and then people will pay anything
I
to go to
know.
Disneyland. People like
I
us,
know.
like it is insane. You and I are super Disney fans, and I'd say we're at the top end of the at the top end of like reasonable Disney people. But let me tell you, right above us are
I
the
know.
insane Disney people.
I know. I know.
The people who retire and find a 1-bedroom apartment in Anaheim so they can go every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, we're gonna see. I'm kind of curious. D23 prices are coming out soon because we're gonna buy the tickets on March 26th.
26th.
And if we look at the past D23, I don't know if you remember, you and I got the 3-day pass. And I think we paid just a little under $300 for it. We didn't get the preferred seating. We didn't get to every shindig that they had. But the next jump is that if you did want to go to every shindig that they had and everything, that's $1,000 per person. So you're talking about $300 per person, $1,000 per person. And there were a lot of people that did that. I get if you're getting paid, like monetized blogs and stuff like that, you probably do want to be there.
Like influencers and stuff like that, but there was people who just wanted that access.
I just can't.
Yeah, it'd be different if I could write it off my taxes.
Yeah.
Right. But you know, like we saw a ton of influencers there who I'm like, yeah, of course, if my job and income depended on my access to like all the big announcements, yeah, I'd pay for it because $1,000 A is a tax write-off and it's B is good. I'm gonna get that money back. But you and I aren't getting that money back. You know,
no, we're not.
We're not making any money on this, listeners.
No, we're not. No, we're not. But that's okay. It's fun.
It's fun.
It's a fun hobby. Of course you don't mind. You show up for an hour and you're done.
I know, it's great.
Someone else does the editing and the publishing and the whatever. Hey, I'm just saying.
Who was the one who called who and said, hey, we should probably do a Disney podcast?
You called me.
So, you know, I'm the idea guy.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. That is true. That is absolutely 100% true. All right. Well, that was a good time. And I will say that I am super proud of you that you actually did something like that. I really I don't know. I don't know that I thought you would do it. So good for you. Good for you.
Let me tell you something. You should have seen my finger over the. I'm like, oh,
$400.
so much money.
That's like 2 days at Disney though, without the.
That's just it.
Without
like the per day cost, right? And it helps that I can amortize it over a year.
Yeah.
And honestly, the it's weird. The parking did help because I was like, well, 50% off parking makes parking not ridiculous.
$20 instead of
right? Like,
yeah.
Although I do think it's bull that they charge the same for a motorcycle that they do for a car. I don't know about that.
Doesn't matter. I mean, it's still what they get their money. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
They're gonna get.
That's
money.
right. I forgot because you have a motorcycle now. You can actually take advantage of that. I forgot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not riding my motorcycle from the Bay Area.
I know you're not.
LA, that ain't happening.
All right, Duelists, did he make the right decision? We want to hear from you. Let us know on our YouTube right down here. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that. And then you can see our faces pop up in your algorithm every time we release a new video. Isn't that just worth subscribing right there? Anyway, and we're also on social media at Dueling Disney on Facebook and on Instagram. So find us there and let us know all the stuff.
To all that come to this happy place, welcome. Dueling Disney is your podcast. Here, age relives fond memories of the past, and here youth may savor the challenge and promise of the future. Dueling Disney is dedicated to the ideals, the dreams, and the hard facts that have created America, with hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.